Good to see you, my friends.
Good to see you as well.
We are back.
Yes.
Here for another meeting of the minds, right?
Yes.
I'll tell you,
your mind's probably better than mine.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. There's certainly not a last list of things that we can't talk about right now. It's just so much going on. Rates dropped a little bit, right? We're seeing a little reprieve in that, and it looks like the Fed is not going to hike anymore. That's pretty much 100% guarantee. And now it's when are they going to start cutting? So we'll talk about that probably on our next show. The real estate market's kind of
And is it a good thing if they cut, depending on how much they cut, the rate of which they cut? Because I also think we got to be careful what we wish for.
Yes, we'll break that down. That's
exactly.
And then the real estate market's hanging in there, right? It's just simple supply and demand laws. But I think what we really should focus on today is some of the biggest news we've seen in the industry in a long time, right?
Yeah.
And that would be the NAR lawsuit. We touched on it last time.
The NAR law, what is that?
So, and a lot of people don't really know the ramifications of everything. And so I really want to get your opinion on it. Number one, why did it happen? And what is it?
Well, so what the lawsuit really entails is that National Association of Realtors has been sued, really, and the MLS, all that kind of stuff, and it all encompassed together as price fixing buyers agents commissions, basically making the seller feel as if they have to pay the buyer's commission. Now, of course, they don't according to the rules, but let's be honest. Look at most. Very rarely do I come across a listing that's not offering some sort of compensation, and there was a lot of, there's different facets of this, like, hey, are they steering? Could these agents that are working together on this with knowing the seller's paying the commission, are they pushing up the price? Are they doing anything like that? There's a lot of things that were brought up to the attention. And I got to be honest, at first, I thought it was like some Sue Happy couple in Missouri and some attorney just trying to create somewhere, you know what I mean? I had that whole mentality.
I could still think that, but anyway.
I got to be honest, I have completely reversed my opinion on it. I actually 100% have reversed. And I actually think there's a lot of merit to this. I've polled and asked a lot of consumers their opinions and really tried to come from curiosity, not taking a stance, because I think the worst realtors out there, I think the absolute worst thing we can do is play a victim in this, because we're not victims, okay? And, we've got an organization that's been around for over 100 years that has done something a certain way, and I came in, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I just came in, I sold a house, I made some money, it was cool. But when I look at the structure of how it happens, and just the fact that I've worked with great agents and been like, man, I'm glad they were on the other side of this transaction. They were great. They represented their client. They were professional, all that kind of stuff. But yet they were professional to me. That everybody kind of felt like they got what they wanted. And I have had agents that are a freaking disaster on the other end.
And we see it too on our end.
I can't even imagine on your end. It's probably more because you guys got more paperwork than we do. And should they make the same amount of money just because we put that the seller would pay it? I don't know. I mean, that's up to debate. So I think there's a lot of merit to this. Now, just so anybody knows, everything is still going on the same way. Nothing has been ruled. There's going to be an appeal. Nothing is settled. I think if you're an agent right now or in the real estate industry in general, I absolutely think you should absolutely prepare. If this doesn't change and nothing changes and things go, which I will be shocked if that happens, because this lawsuit is just the beginning, by the way.
Oh, certainly.
There's
already more coming.
Oh, there's someone told me there's an estimated $400 billion worth of
now the Department of Justice is now, they're ruffling their feathers. And
when we look at this, honestly, when I look at this from years ago, how is it? And I'm pretty sure we were going to talk about how this is going to change. I'm just going to kind of segue into why this may change. But, we had there was an issue in 2004, 5, 6 with adjustable rate mortgages and predatory lending, right? And let me guess, you could charge whatever you wanted.
Well, that leads to us. And this happened to us in 2013 with the Dodd-Frank Act. And it's the LO comp rule, right? Yes, back in the days, we could charge whatever we wanted to, right? And just to break that down, LOs, loan officers, they normally get paid on the rate they sell, right? So if you sold somebody a higher rate, you're going to get more money, right? And then if you had somebody come in the office that you like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get away with this, you could give, you know what I mean? So it certainly wasn't fair. And at first I didn't, it was hard to wrap my head around that, but then after, the same thing with you, all of a sudden I'm like, this does make sense. Why everybody should get the same deal, right? Now that doesn't mean every loan officer gets paid the same, right? But you can pick your different margins, right? Good loan officers probably have a little higher margin, but you get what you pay for, right? And that's where other like real estate agents, that aren't as experienced, that are getting paid just the same as somebody like you, there's going to be a different balance there, right? So,
Absolutely.
And that's why some loan officers, they get paid very small and they just sit in and wait for the next lead to come and work for a bank or whatever it is. So again, that happened to us and it was a good thing. There are some different, there are some weird things that happen because of this legislation, right? Where even if we need to give credit to the buyer for some reason, right, or the borrower, I still have to make the same, so the company loses money, right? So it's just, there's always going to be, it's never going to be perfect, put it that way, right? But it has worked itself out. It is what the new landscape is for lending, and I think that's what's going to happen to you guys.
I do too. I'll be shocked if they don't step in. And at the end of the day, it is about the consumer. As much as we wish it was about us, that's not really fair. Like so, we have to look for it.
Wouldn't it, like a buyer's broker agreement, like, is that going to come into play? There's probably going to be some new disclosures.
I think it's going to have to now with the nature of this. I've never used them.
Why? Why is that? Yeah.
Because I don't think I need to. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. I like the handshake idea. Have I been burned? Yeah. I mean, have I had people? I show them a bunch of houses. They go work with another agent. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
I think more of this would be, this is what I'm planning to make, and then you're going to hire me for this, and now it's set in writing, and there it is.
Exactly.
Right? But I guess we're.
Well, now that they're buyers, if they potentially have to start paying.
Well, that's the big unknown here, right? And that's where it could really have a big issue, right? Because as we know, there's a lot of buyers that don't have a whole lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and they're literally, we're approving them down to the last dollar, and now if they have to pay a real estate agent, where's that money going to come from?
Well, here's the fear: is somebody tries to save a couple bucks, well, not a couple bucks, but I'm going to just throw out arbitrary numbers. Let's say 2-3%, whatever. That's a decent amount of money coming out of pocket, and they go represent themselves. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how well it works out if you have a case. Let's say somebody hits you with their car.
Well, we do FSBOs a lot, and they usually don't go so well when the people are representing themselves.
Well, and just think about it. Like if you got hit by a car and you said, you know what, I don't want to pay an attorney. I don't want him to take a cut. I'll sue this guy myself. Well, how's that usually work out for everybody? Well. Yeah. So, and if I'm the listing agent and somebody comes unrepresented, sorry, I represent the seller. I'm going to get every nickel I can for my seller and 100%. Give them every advantage and rope you into that contract just because that's the way it is. I don't think an attorney does the same thing if someone's representing themselves. They're gonna take that guy because they got to win for the client.
Right.
And nothing is going to change in that regard. So that's my fear. Because I think there's going to be a lot of goofiness right away.
Certainly.
If this happens, like there's going to be some adjustment periods. But I ultimately think the consumer's going to win by this because what's going to happen is...
we'll see. I think there'll be some unintended consequences at first. Hopefully,
100%.
Hopefully those get worked out and then it does benefit the consumer. I think there's going to be big sweeping changes on compensation for you guys as well, so that's not going to be good for some agents.
I think it's going to cost more to be a realtor too.
I do too. Yeah.
So I think you're going to, especially
Fitz, you guys should have been regulated too, as well as us. So it's about welcome to the new world.
No, but here's the deal, though. I mean, look, I bet when lenders in 2013, when this all got put, came to fruition, I bet they were like, oh my God, how are we going to make money? But what happened was, what were there, like 20,000 lenders out here in Las Vegas? Now, how many are there now?
Yeah, there's a lot less. Yeah.
So there's 17,000 agents in Las Vegas right now. And the
LDR, going to be a lot less.
10,000 of those agents, just so you guys know, did not do a deal this year.
Yeah.
That's 65%.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of people that are hanging on to a license because it's, $600-700 in dues, but for them it's a lottery ticket.
Well, I think that even with this not happening, a lot of them are getting out of the business anyways because now it's tough, right? Yeah. Even with loan officers, you can take those 20 and 22, those are 20 and 21 years. That was completely fake, right? Those are Fugazi years. Anybody could have made money. You didn't really have to work hard, and now you actually have to be a skilled originator, know your guidelines, and get tough deals done. And a lot of them don't, and they're coming out of the business. And the same thing is going to happen in your industry.
Well, it's already starting to happen. We're already starting to see. I mean, how many people are not going to renew this year?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to get to the point where we're down a lot. I would be shocked. I bet we're down to like 10,000 by this year. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think we're gonna clear a lot of agents out this year. And really, like I said, NAR, and this is where NAR kind of got exposed. There's a great thing about NAR is great. Like we got to keep working during COVID. We were deemed essential. They're a lobbying organization, so they've lobbied for our interests to a certain degree. But there's also when the Great Reset happened. And all these licenses got out of the business, they realized, oh man, we need to keep people licensed. So it's become almost like a gym where you got 20,000 members. Yeah. And now instead you got 1,500, 2,000 people going to the gym. And the gyms make their
more money on the people that don't go.
100%. Right? They're banking on it. And because NAR at the end of the day, they don't get a piece of my commission, they get our dues. Exactly. So I think it's going to, if they I'm not saying I want this to happen, but if our costs increase, which I think if there's a settlement, they might.
Of course.
Then and who knows? I mean, a lot of people think the NAR might be gone or MLS might get dismantled. There's people that have left NAR. I know Anywhere did. And that's the thing. You got. There's a lot of leadership questions within that full organization. So
and you work for the company that's fought this the most, right? Some of the companies settled, but. Obviously Gary Keller for Keller Williams, he's putting up the good fight. And, look, there's a ton of, everybody's got an opinion on this, right? I mean, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, there's going to be some changes. They're not going to happen overnight, right? But they're coming, and we just have to embrace it. Yeah. And, the people that know the industry and know, how to do things the right way and, treat this as a true profession, they're going to be just fine, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to change. I think the cream's going to rise to the top, as it always does. And if you're part-time and want to just make a little extra side hustle money, I mean, agents that are out there like that, I'm not, trying to poke at you or anything like that. But guys, this is the biggest investment people make in their lives. So, I mean, I don't think it's asking a lot that we are professional. We treat this like a professional.
And to your point, should they get paid the same as a listing agent that's been doing this for 25 years that, that is experienced and knows the business? So, again, we'll see.
Licensed and years don't always correlate to experience either,
Absolutely. So, a lot of what ifs. I'm curious to see how this all shakes out, but probably not going to know for quite a long time. There's going to be a lot of appeals and different lawsuits, and we'll just see what happens. But on a lighter note, it's holiday season, man.
Yeah, right? Gotta love the holidays.
Thanksgiving's next week.
A lot to be thankful for.
Yeah. Are you, what's your favorite? Is it turkey or is it mashed potatoes or stuffing? What's your favorite
Probably
dish?
turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah, I'm pretty basic.
Like some people like.
And I don't eat sugar anymore, so I don't do the pie.
No?
Yeah,
Come on, it's Thanksgiving. Right?
Problem is, I'm an all or nothing guy.
It's good and bad.
I'll fall right off the wagon, and I'll be 9 deep in a Krispy Kreme. And the next morning.
Buying a house during the holiday seasons can be beneficial. Right?
Honestly, I think it's one of the best times.
Me too.
Because you're in a situation where you have, don't get me wrong, a seller may just want to test the market, but most sellers, if they're selling, they're generally motivated. And if they're, now granted, when I see something that's been listed in October, they were hoping to get an offer, and maybe I call we're not showing it today. Now we got family in town. Okay. Right. But if there's somebody that's readily willing to show it all through the holiday season, typically they're motivated, and most buyers are with family and stuff. Right? If they're going and looking at houses a lot of times
both parties motivated.
So sometimes the seller, believe it or not, they're worried about getting their pants pulled down on the other side. Not necessarily the case, because also too, buyers that are willing to go look at houses sometimes if they really want a house, they will buy it, depending on if your house has a uniqueness to it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then even builders. I know
I get it, but it is what it is.
They'll do their end of year incentives, you know, and
they want to close out their pipeline. Yeah. So, yeah, look, I mean, I've been saying that for years. You know, these are the best 2 months to really buy a house. You know, and people are motivated. It's time where you can get some seller concessions, get a good deal. You know, get in there before Christmas and go buy your new house.
And for agents that are willing to work, this is a really good time to do well for yourself, because a lot of people like to you go to any real estate office in December.
Crickets.
It's pretty much empty.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, so good to see you.
Always a pleasure, sir.
It was a good topic today, and I'm looking forward to the next time we discuss what's happening with rates and the economy and everything else, and whatever we have on the agenda, man.
Whatever disaster we're talking about the positives of.
Have a great Thanksgiving, Adam.
You too, man. Happy holidays.